Ask the Muscle Whisperer.
Hello, I'm Emma Gilmore from School of Bodywork and here today to talk to you about cancellations and no-shows and considerations around this in this time of coronavirus. So I think it's really important that we all as therapists have really clear terms and conditions, either on our website or emailed out to our clients beforehand, stating our cancellation policy. Whatever your cancellation policy is, it may be 24 hours, it may be 48 hours. You may charge your full fee or you may charge a half fee for missed or cancelled appointments. I personally use 48-hour notice and I do charge the full fee because our time is limited. And I could have filled the appointment with somebody else. If somebody's not turning up to an appointment, I really need to know in advance and then I can refill the appointment. So I do think be realistic and have enough self-respect to stick to your cancellation policies. And hopefully you have a really great client base that has enough respect for you that they're going to pay you their no-show or their cancellation fee with absolutely no argument. At the moment, I'm actually, again, due to coronavirus, asking people to pay in advance so people pay when they book. So that's even less of a problem these days anyway. If, however, due to coronavirus, somebody is ill, of course, we don't want to see them in our clinic. Same goes for other illnesses. So I would be far more lenient on my cancellation policy. However, I would definitely make sure that all my costs were covered. So you need to work out your genuine costs of hiring your treatment room, costs of parking, childcare, whatever other costs of advertising, whatever other costs have gone into that hour that you've put aside for your client. And I would ask my clients to cover my costs at the very least, because you really don't want to be out of pocket. And also, depending on the area you live in, I live in a really low COVID area, but depending on the area you live in, you may have several clients who need to cancel or reschedule due to coronavirus. So at the very least, I think you need your costs covered. And and I think, as always, clear communication with your clients. And a lot of people put in a policy whereby if they rebook in a certain amount of time, then the cancellation fee is waived. So that's something you couldn't consider. I personally don't do that. So yeah, like I said, most importantly, get a cancellation policy in place, terms and conditions in place, make it really clear by email and on your website so your clients know where they stand. Hopefully we build a client base of really respectful clients who respect us and realize this is our career, our way of making money. And even if they need to cancel at the very last minute, hopefully they pay you for your time. I wish you all really good luck going back to clinic. Really exciting times for all of us. We've got loads of exciting webinars if you want to get in touch and have a look to support you in going back to clinic. Take a look at our School of Bodywork online webinars. Take good care. Bye-bye.
Hi, welcome to this. I'm Megan.
I'm Rachel.
And we are the directors of Jig Advanced Massage and Training down in, it is sunny bright.
It's sunny bright, and we always say sunny bright, and it actually is today.
So we're really love this question around what do you do about no-shows?
Yeah.
And the geniuses behind Massage Whisperer are saying like this might be more of an issue during COVID. And people might be a bit all over the place with their bookings, but we of course think it is an opportunity.
Always an opportunity.
So we've kind of gone through five different reasons or ways you're going to deal with this issue around cancellations, but as always, we feel like, yeah, there's an opportunity here to change your practice and keep stability in your work. So the first thing about no-shows is avoid them. Number one,
at all costs.
Avoid no-shows. By what we've been supporting therapists to be doing for the last year, which is
taking consultations online. So this is in line not only with your practice, but with COVID safety, that your actual first contact with a client is actually going to be an online consultation in 20 minutes to half an hour. So if you've already established that therapeutic relationship, you're much less likely to have somebody not turning up. In my experience, no-shows are often related to online bookings, nobody's got a relationship with you, nobody's paid, and it's much easier for people not to show up without letting you know.
2, book, like, this is not on our list. Number 2 is
we have 6 then.
book people in packages. So if it's not a one-off appointment and you're booking people in packages, you've done your online consultation, you've then said, right, this is from a Jing perspective, we're trying to get people out of pain, which I know all of you want to. It's like, well, this is going to take a couple of sessions, so get them to prepay. So financially, that might offset things.
Yeah. Yes.
Number 3.
Number 3. What's on your list, Megan? Don't get cross. It's really important. I think the thing around setting your boundaries out is really important. So often people don't have a cancellation policy, or it's not clear, or they haven't told somebody what their cancellation policy is, and then they get really cross when somebody cancels at short notice. So be clear what your cancellation policy is, and tell somebody what it is verbally, not just in small print on your website. So you do that at the consultation stage. So I'd say, just to let you know, if you need to cancel, I'm going to need 48 hours notice. If you can give me a ring or drop me an email, that would be great. If any cancellations within that time, I'm going to incur the cancellation fee. Everybody's cancellation policy should change because of COVID, so you're going to have to be more lenient if somebody's, waking up with any kind of severe illness symptoms. In that case, you would waive the cancellation fee.
But that takes us, I think, to number 4, which is have a backup plan. So because of COVID, if we're going to be more lenient around our face-to-face appointments needing to change, you have to have a sense of, well, that is absolutely okay. I really appreciate you taking care of yourself and taking care of me in my practice. What we're going to do is we're going to move you on to an online appointment this week. So when you're doing your online consultation with them, we say that this is going to be a mix of things because of COVID. So number 4 is have a backup plan, which is being able to deliver some wellness programming, self-massage, exercise online.
And if that's the first you're hearing of that, we've supported loads of therapists to do this really successfully over the last year. There's a load of free blogs on our website, so you can definitely.
And number 5, which is actually something that Rachel and I have stuck with for the last 20 odd years, is 3 strikes you're out. So if you are doing all these great things and you've given them a backup plan, and there's all these different ways in which you've worked with someone, we've always, even when we ran the spa in New York City, it was like 3 strikes you're out. So the first appointment, I always took it by the chin. I was like, great, you've canceled. I appreciate it's the kids, or there's life, or you forgot, or whatever, and I never charged. Second appointment was on them. So I never got cross, and I just said, I appreciate that we're having this conversation, you didn't show up, or you forgot, or whatever. You didn't pay for the first one at all. So the second one, I really need you to pay for this one because it was my time and I had a waiting list and la-di-la-di-la. And the third time they cancel, I just say, this obviously isn't probably the right match for you right now, so you can have the name of a great other massage therapist called Rachel Fairweather. And pass them on to someone else.
Wishy-washy, to say. I think my third, I would do the same, but I think my third time I might say I'm going to need you to pay up front because you've cancelled these.
You might not get rid of
times. Yeah, I'll get their money first.
So hopefully that's some help around cancellation cancellations, but also about
consultations,
building your practice in COVID. You know, this is a great opportunity around a mixed way in which you can engage with your client base. And the other part we want to also say to you is, don't get cross, because building your practice is so much more important to keep your clients than to try to build a new one. You can't just replace somebody overnight, and every client is like a pathway into their family, especially if you're doing things online. Geography doesn't become as much of an obstacle. So I always feel this is a fun dialogue to help people kind of build that therapeutic alliance. And if they say sorry a lot, great, send me a client. Anyway, hope that's helpful.
Okay, that was helpful.
And can't wait to see you all next time. Happy opening. Yeah.
Congratulations, everybody, for opening up your clinics, your practices, your treatment rooms. It's been a busy few days for everyone in our industry, and it's very exciting that we're able to get out and actually help our clients with our hands-on sessions. So this month's question from Massage Warehouse is all about how we handle no-shows and cancellations. So what are my recommendations for therapists who may be experiencing this unavoidably with the rise in COVID, with no-shows, cancellations, as we all return back to work? So when I saw this question, the first thing that came to my mind is that I am presuming those of you that have a professional practice, a professional clinic, who haven't been able to see clients face to face, have still maintained good relationships with your clients. So whether that's been running Zoom sessions for them, whether that's been educating them through newsletters, whether that's been simply holding space for the clients that have really needed it. Maybe their stress levels are just really high and they just really, really needed that support. That is great, because that shows a respect of the client and the facilitator and the operator, I should say. And in that kind of situation, I think it's if you have a no-show or a cancellation very last minute, then in that situation, I would say we can be flexible, because those clients may have a very good reason for why they didn't show or why they had to cancel last minute. So that's the first thing I wanted to say, is that it's always important to develop good relationships with our clients, maintain the relationships, and we then naturally have that respect for each other and each other's time. Now, if that isn't the case, if it's new clients, or you're seeing that even regular clients are in a bit of panic mode, then it's important that you have boundaries and that you do minimize the effect that this is going to have on your cash flow and also on your profit. I mean, you can't operate professionally if you're having a high percentage of no-shows and cancellations. So some of the good practices that you can do. Firstly, the obvious one is to send out a reminder. So send out a reminder the day before, I would say a few days before, 2 or 3 days before, with the booking of the treatment, it's a confirmation. And then also the day before the treatment as well. So it's in advance, and that they've been reminded, because it may be that they're just running around like a headless chicken and they just didn't write it in their diary, or maybe they wrote it on the wrong day. With so much going on at the moment, people generally have a lot on their minds, so bear that in mind. The other technique that is definitely useful to integrate into your practice is to introduce financial penalties. So you can do this in two ways. Either you can take the client's credit card details when they book, and you can make sure they're fully aware of your policy, that you will either take full payment if it's a no-show or a cancellation within 24 hours, or 50%. I think you have to think that through and think what your policy is and what you feel comfortable with. The other way that you can do that is also to simply have it as a policy, so that the client is aware, that they can't really, they can't mess you about, they can't be wishy-washy. Once they've made a commitment for that appointment, it's in the diary, it's scheduled, and you do have a professional policy in place. So that's something you may not have at the moment, but it's definitely something you should have. And certainly COVID is a good reason to implement that. That's the way that you can actually introduce the policy if it's new for you. So that's my point. So develop good relationships. That way, you get to know each other and there's a natural respect there. And then if you feel you need to have some systems in place, then definitely sending out the reminder texts and also having a financial penalty in place is going to be really important. And just in a nutshell, if you are seeing an increase in cancellations and no-shows, then it's not a bad idea to have a look at your systems, and your processes. And also it's not a bad idea to actually have a look at your client base and also your audience. If you are attracting people that feel very comfortable to not show up or cancel at the last minute, then you might want to consider the way that you're also marketing your practice so that doesn't happen in the future. Okay, guys, so have a great month, and I'll see you next month.
Hi, my name's Nikki from Orchid Massage Academy, and before I talk about no-shows and cancellations, I just wanted to say congratulations on us all being able to go back to work and get going hands-on again. So no-shows and cancellations, what do we do about them? The first thing is we need to think, are we getting these a lot? Is this happening all the time? And if it is, we might need to think about why is it happening? We need our clients to respect our time and to respect our business and us, and if they're not, then maybe they're the wrong clients. So that's the first thing to think about. Why are you attracting that kind of client? But let's just say it's only happening a few times. Well, the main point here is to get ourselves a cancellation policy. Get it on your website. Make sure all your new clients are aware of it. Send it out via email to your current clients so that they are aware of it as well. And you're just laying out your boundaries and letting people know what you expect of them and what they can expect of you in return. And then obviously in that cancellation policy, you're going to talk about the time scale. So maybe you want them to give you 24 hours notice, and also the penalty. So that would be maybe they have to pay the full amount or just 50%. You can choose, you can completely decide what you want your policy to be. But the main aspect here is that everyone is aware of it. And then from there, you can be flexible. So if you wanted to, depending on why your client didn't turn up or why they had to cancel, then you can always let them off. You can say, normally I'd charge you, but I understand whatever's happened and it's fine. So, you can be flexible, you can give them some leeway. A lot of therapists I know, for the first time it happens, they let them off, and then obviously if it happens again, then I'm going to charge you. So that's entirely up to you. I do get a lot of therapists asking me, okay, I've got my cancellation policy, but how do I enforce it? So the key is here, I would say the best thing is to make sure that you have some kind of booking system in place whereby the client actually pays up front. This makes it so much easier because then you don't have to worry about any kind of payment going on after the treatment. The client can just flow out of the treatment, not have to think about money. And also it means that they've paid up front, so if they don't show up or they cancel, who cares, because you've got the money already, so it doesn't matter. So I would really say get yourself a booking system in place where you could do that. If not, and they have to pay on the day, so you make sure they know they have to pay you when they turn up next time they come to see you. You may find that some people don't come back to you because they don't want to pay. And if that's the case, amazing, great, because you don't want that kind of client anyway. So, that's fine. And the ones that understand and respect you and your time, they'll come with the money and they'll pay you. So yes, it's more awkward that way, but it's still fine. It's what we all did for years before the booking systems came in. So it's totally fine to do that. Enforce your boundaries. You've got a right to do that. You've got a right for them to respect your time. Now the question is, in the COVID times, what do we do about enforcing the cancellation? And the key thing here, I think, is that we have to understand that the whole COVID situation is going to change how we do our cancellations, because at the end of the day we need to make it easy for our clients to not come, to cancel at the last minute. If they're ill, if they have COVID symptoms, if they are needing to self-isolate, it's got to be easy for them to cancel, and that probably means not charging them, because at the end of the day, with how this is going to affect our business, we have to just sort of accept that we need to ethically, we need to not have people who should be at home coming into our business. Obviously, we don't want to be spreading COVID in our local community. We don't want to catch it ourselves. That's a given. But the second part of it is we also, financially, it doesn't make sense to have these people come in when they should be staying away. Because, if someone cancels or they just don't turn up and you have a couple of spaces free that week, yeah, it's not great business wise, but you can deal with it. And also I would very much recommend getting yourself a cancellation list, so that if someone doesn't turn up at the last minute, you can call someone on the list and hopefully they can come and take the place. But the point is that if that client does turn up because they don't want to pay a cancellation fee, you might end up getting ill, which obviously you don't want to do, or having to self-isolate yourself, and then your whole business closes for 2 weeks, if not longer, which is just exactly what you don't need. So it's about just understanding what makes most sense, and really what makes most sense is not charging a cancellation fee for clients if it comes to COVID, so that it makes it easy for them to stay away, so that you're not having to close your entire business for 2 weeks. So, I think the best thing is to have your cancellation policy and have an extra clause that you enforce or you don't enforce if it comes to COVID. So it would say anything to do with COVID, there'll be no charge. And yes, you will get some clients lying to you and saying it's COVID related when it's not. And yes, that's incredibly annoying. But hopefully most of your clients are lovely human beings who won't lie to you. But I do think there's not much you can do about that. It's more about doing the ethical right thing, and also the right thing for your business as well. So cancellation policy, cancellation list, and a clause saying that you won't charge when it comes to COVID. And hopefully that helps. This is something that, COVID will go away, hopefully, at some point. And in the meantime, it's going to affect our business. And we just have, it has affected our business massively, and it's going to continue to do so. And we just have to accept that, do what we can to mitigate it, but at the same time understand that, we have to put some things in place, and some things are out of our control. So I hope that helps. Good luck with being back at work, being back hands-on, and I will see you soon.
Hello, I'm Jane Burke, and April's Ask the Muscle Whisperer question is all about no-shows and cancellations. So as I see it, there's 3 ways to look at this, and that's looking at it from a business point of view, from our client's point of view, and from our point of view as a therapist. But before we go into those,
I'd like to say that we're in unusual times at the moment with COVID-19. So my advice at the moment is let your clients cancel. Even if it's last minute, it's really not worth the risk to you, to your clients, or to your business reputation. Okay, let's go on to the other three. So let's start with the client. How is it from the client's point of view? Well, you know, life, stuff happens. Kids get sick, cars break down. And the other thing is some clients, they're dead keen to work with us. They're dead keen to clear some of their emotional stuff as well as their physical aches and pains. But, you know, that's a big step. There's a lot of stuff they've squashed down for many, many years. And although they want to, they're ready to, when it actually comes to it, they chicken out. They're just not ready to work on a holistic level with us at this moment. And also I find with women especially that they're sometimes not ready to put themselves first. So anytime they allocate to themselves, such as a holistic massage, then they allow other things to take priority. So again, you know, from a therapist's point of view, we need to be really empathetic. We need to try and work with them to find out why, you know, why didn't they come through our door that day when they booked? And maybe there's some prep work we can send them, some stuff that they can do beforehand to make that step through the doorway easier. You know, they've done the biggest step, they've booked the appointment. Let's not lose them now. Okay, from a therapist's point of view, so if people don't show or they cancel, it's not a reflection on you. Don't go into that downward spiral, low self-worth. You know, you're not a pushover if you let them cancel. It's not because it's a hobby business. You know, you can have a professional business and still be empathetic. And I'll come back to another point I'd like to make on that one later. But let's go to the business. So what happens, you know, from a business point of view? Well, it's a waste of your time because you've set up your room. It's a waste of money. You may have had to pay rent, or there's certainly heating costs. And you know, you want to portray yourself as a company, not as a hobbyist, you know, somebody that just does a massage on a weekend or something like that, you know. So you've got to be quite clear about the way you set things out. The way that I work with my clients is new clients will pay me upfront for a few sessions, whatever type of course program we decide on. And then they gradually spread their appointments out and I get them onto a regular maintenance program. Because once we've dealt with the main issue, there'll still be some other stuff coming up. And it also stops the original stuff reoccurring again. So most of mine now, I've worked with them for many years, most of mine are on monthly appointments. So the first of every month, they get an invoice and the money is taken straight out of their account for their appointments that they've booked for that month. Works brilliantly, absolutely brilliantly. You know, if people need to cancel and change an appointment, then they squeeze it in the month somewhere else. I always book them in for the first week of the month if I can. And then they just need to rearrange if they need to. And of course that gives me the other 3 weeks for new clients, to onboard new clients. Works really well. My invoicing is, my bookkeeping is through Xero, and so I invoice them through Go Cardless. And just a final thing, you know, if you're working from home, then there's lots of things you can get on with if client cancels or no show. If you're in the clinic, then take something with you. So you can either take some paperwork that you would have done later, and that will then free you up later, or you can just sit, you know, take that time for you. Sometimes if we push ourselves too much, the universe will send us a little pocket of time. Maybe that's why your client cancelled. Book some me time in the calendar for you. Hope that helped. Look forward to seeing you all next month. Bye for now.
Welcome to the next question that Massage Warehouse has come up with. This one's concerning cancellation, particularly due to the COVID pandemic situation. Now, generally, I don't really have a lot of cancellations at the moment because people are just finally coming back into their sessions and they are desperate to have treatment. But when things maybe calm down a bit, how do you deal with your cancellations? So the main thing to do is to preempt the difficulties associated with cancellation. So if you're quite clear right from the get-go about what your policy is, you'll avoid a lot of the situations where it's uncomfortable in explaining that they have to pay because the policy requires them less than 24 hours. They have a full payment requirement. I give a number of tips in the write-up with regards to how you can set it up, with regards to having it on your website, explaining it on the phone when they sign up, having a booking system that requires them to have their credit card captured. But generally what I do is when I explain it to them, what I want them to do is I want them to go to my website and kind of say, like, I'll introduce the idea of cancellation in the phone conversation. It's saying, if you're uncertain about the timings, etc., please look at my policies online about cancellation. Also, I want you to look online to look at the processes and procedures that are in place to ensure both our safety. So this helps also to drive people to your website to seek out information, and this is a win-win situation. So if you're kind of uncertain about how to do a cancellation, read further below about the write-up, and I give you some tips about how to do this comfortably. All the best to you.
Hi, once again, I'm asked to answer one of the most important questions pertaining to how do we manage and deal with no-shows, those who book an appointment and fail to attend, or those who book and pay for an appointment in advance, fail to attend and demand money back. How do we manage that in terms of our practice? How do we learn from the mistakes we may have made? And what message, what ideas, what advice can I give you in order to help you advance? So for me, when I started out, many times clients would phone up and book in and never arrive. And I found myself having to constantly phone them, chase up, saying, I understand there may have been important things that have cropped up, but at the same time, you booked for an appointment but did not attend. I had nothing to go on, nothing to go back to, and what I found, I was losing funds. So what I do now, and the lessons that I've learned, is we need to be smart about the way we plan our bookings, and we need to acknowledge that the last year, the pandemic, has given heightened feelings to people who want to book in, are concerned about what it is they are booking for, and then at the last minute they drop out. So what I use now is an informed way of booking. So when a patient that I've never met before phones up and wants to book into my clinic, what I do is that I use the approach of explaining to them what I do so they understand my scope. They recognize what to expect, what they can expect of me, what I can expect of them. I refer them to the booking page and policy I use. And what they do is they read through that, acknowledge it, tick a little box to say that they have read this, understand that they are booking in, and they agree to the terms of booking. Then that takes them through to a portal where they can pay online or deposit online. and it makes clear that this is a non-refundable deposit, and if they fail to attend or fail to cancel within 24 hours of the scheduled appointment, they are then liable to pay in full. But it is important as well that we manage that we're not seen as just there to take their money and funds, but we're there to provide a service, that we care. We're part of a healthcare force, working force. What I also do is I send them a text message to confirm that they understand that they have booked in for an appointment at a certain date and time, and that they have read and understood what the booking plans are and policies are, and that they agree to them. And then they respond, yes, that's great, looking forward to it. If they then choose, or they fail to attend, or they decide not to attend because they're ill, it's all explained. So it's really important that you think about your planning, your pre-planning, your wording, that it's clear that if they fail to cancel within a set time, they are liable to pay in full. If they do have a reasonable excuse as to why they could not attend, then it's for us to judge and provide some precaution and judgment to assess. But this is one that we can constantly work on. This is one theme that we can constantly change and shape, because although we think we may have it right now with the use of high tech, booking forms online, application software, we have fantastic software packages that you can have which deal and manage your booking, which we can talk about in future casts. But at the same time, it's up to you to be shown that you are serious about helping them, but you're also running a business. COVID-19 will raise that. Individuals will be concerned about the clinic or the setting that they may enter, and that could distill a fear of, well, I've booked, but I'm not going to do it, or I've got second thoughts about this. The more you can keep your websites updated with current knowledge and information about yourself and what you do, the more trust you build. But also, when you book in, you explain that. Don't be scared to talk about pricing. Don't be scared to say, this is what I charge, this is how I charge, this is what's expected of you. So by booking, you agree to pay a deposit. If you cancel within that, then we may be able to refund you. But if it's at the last minute, unfortunately, we cannot give the funds back. And this is the page that you can read about if you wanted to rebook. So that would be for a new client. There's also that understanding of a returning client. So someone that you may have treated previously and you've built some trust or rapport. That you need to be careful of as well. Exercise some caution there. Judge it in terms of making sure that there is maybe a set time limit that person may be able to pay, or you may have a different approach. What I also found has worked well for me in the past is being able to sell vouchers, which allows people to book for certain sets of time, and they may get a discount if they pay and book for 5 treatments in advance. So that's the ways that I have managed. I'm sure my colleagues will talk you through different ways of working through this, but the key thing is be smart about the way you work, be clear about what you expect, and be clear about the information you give to someone booking in. Best of luck, and let's hope that this next year, now that the lockdown regs and rules have eased a bit, we'll see a flood of new clients coming in, really recognizing and appreciating the services that you give.
Hello everybody, I hope that you are well and that you're having a lovely week so far. My name is Karen and I am from the Wells School. So as part of the Muscle Whisperer series, we have been asked this month, what techniques do you swear by for handling no-shows and cancellations? And how would you recommend therapists handle the inevitable rise due to COVID-19 in no-shows and cancellations as we all return to hands-on bodywork? So pre-COVID, some of us might have had to manage no-shows and cancellations, which can be incredibly awkward, especially when you have a no cancellation policy and you're trying to recoup some funds because the client hasn't turned up. I have found that incredibly difficult over the years. And for many years, I was definitely a pen and paper girl and used to write all my appointments down. I have a serious love for stationery. However, I was convinced to try an electronic diary, and I have to say it's transformed everything. And with our electronic system, we actually use Acuity, which is incredibly useful. I know some of our students have used Clinico in the past, and there's some other really fantastic electronic diaries that you could have a look at as well. So what we have found with our diary is that it reduces admin time for a start. So if a client wants to swap their appointment, they can do that themselves. They don't have to contact me. I don't have to do that. So it's reduced my admin time, which is always a really lovely thing. And then our appointment system always texts or emails the client 24 hours ahead of time to remind them that their appointment is coming up as well. So for those clients that maybe don't show up because they've forgotten, because life is so busy, this has stopped that from happening because they've got those reminders as well. And the other thing that our appointment system does, so we've set it up to do, is that the system will take payment when the client is booking the appointment. So they can't book unless they pay for the appointment. If they then choose not to turn up or they forget about their appointment, despite having the reminders, then the appointment has already been paid for, so we are not chasing money for a missed appointment. So it's taken that awkwardness out as well. The system also doesn't allow a client to cancel their appointment for so many hours ahead of their treatment as well. So we've set up that as well. So, but with the COVID-19, the pandemic, and people possibly displaying symptoms, and actually I don't want them to turn up if they've got symptoms, I obviously have to have some flex there and be understanding to clients who are actually really looking forward to coming back into the treatment room as well, that they now can't make that appointment. So I have clients on standby who are waiting for an appointment or maybe an earlier appointment, and I can contact them and let them know that there's an appointment coming up. Also posting on social media that there is an appointment that has arrived as well, so I can try and keep these appointments filled so I'm not sitting around waiting. And also putting on social media what the practices are. If you need to cancel your appointment, please do let us know in advance so that people are very aware of what it is that they need to do. So if you're displaying any symptoms, please try and tell me with as much notice. And putting it into your newsletter as well, kind of what it is that you're hoping or you're expecting from your client, just so that your income is not impacted. And people are generally have been very understanding. We also, in the pre-treatment questionnaire for COVID, it emails me and lets me know if anybody has been displaying some symptoms, so I know that I need to contact them, cancel them, and try and get someone in their place as well. But I hope that's been useful. I hope there's something there that you can use, and I will hopefully see you next month. Have a lovely week, everybody. Take care now.